part interview, part commentary track, all podcast. Watching Robocop with Kid Power. Our very special guest, Laura Mauro.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Watching Robocop with Kit Power, episode 16. Oh yeah! How you all doing? I told you I was coming back. I told you it'd be soon. I would never lie to you people, and here we go, another episode. Fantastic. We'll get on to our guest in just a moment, but before that, as usual, a little bit of housekeeping. Not a huge amount of news items to add since last time, obviously, as I'm recording this basically the day after I recorded Dr. Sandifer's introduction, but I did neglect to mention that one of the things I have had published recently is a piece on the movie Natural Born Killers. This is one of those films I'm a massive fan of, and it's not out of the question it'll get a My Life in Horror entry at some point, but for now, over at the Machine Mean blog, run by Thomas S. Flowers, they're doing a series on serial killers, slashers, and so forth. And Natural Born Killers was one of the movies on the list, which I was lucky enough to bag. So I've written an essay on that. That's been published by them. It came out last week, I think. But just look for Machine Mean blog. You'll find it easily enough. Recommend it. I'm really happy with the piece. I mean, it's one of those things I could have written a book about, frankly. But I got a lot of interesting stuff there. And I'll be writing a return entry there in May on the subject of Manhunter, which is my favourite of the Thomas Harris movie adaptations by far, so I'll be talking a bit about that later on. Patreon backers already know this, of course, and the reason they already know it is because they already read the Natural Born Killers article. They read it long before it was published on Machine Mean. Well, actually, they read it slightly more because that one was a bit of a rush job, but they'll certainly get Manhunter many weeks before it's published. I'm also publishing a bi-monthly column with Ginger Nuts of Horror where I reread the entire Brian Keane back catalogue and give my considered opinion over normally a couple of thousand words worth of essay. Again, Patreon backers, they've already had it. They've had the first two parts and they're going to be getting part 3 very shortly. The rest of you will get part 2 in the next week or two. It's dropping a Ginger Nuts of Horror. In fact, Monday 18th. So look out for that there. But Patreon backers, they read it a month ago, 6 weeks ago. So yeah, just a friendly reminder, $1 a month will get you weekly early access to material, or exclusive material in some cases. And it's a range of stuff. Sometimes you'll get reviews, sometimes you'll get these essays, sometimes you'll get bits of fiction, so it's well worth your time. $2 a month will get you all of that, plus a free copy of every single ebook I put out, and at $3 a month you get all of that, plus you get to watch me write in real time for 2 hours every single week, guaranteed, via the magic of Google Docs. And when you do that, obviously you're also effectively getting early access to whatever it is I'm writing about. Again, good mixture, essays, fiction. Sometimes it will be a chapter of a book I'm working on. So the $3 backers have managed to read a couple of chapters of the Tommy book many months before that comes out. Okay, enough plugging my stuff. Let's talk about our amazing guest. So it's Laura Mauro. Laura is, I think it's fair to describe as a rising star in the speculative fiction world. She predominantly writes horror, I guess, with a kind of a leaning towards quiet horror, though she's not afraid to go there when she wants to. Novella Naming the Bones, one of the favourite things of mine that I read last year. Absolutely superb book, set after a terrorist attack very similar to the 7/7 attacks, and but just a superb supernatural horror story with elements of PTSD. Very well written, very thoughtful, very emotional, bloody scary, really, really impressive. So yeah, we talk about that a bit in the podcast. But yes, huge fan of that. Delighted that Laura agreed to be on the show. Oh, she's also in New Fears 2. That's what I forgot to mention. We're going to be stablemates. Remember me talking last time about New Fears 2 anthology? Well, Laura and I are going to be in that together later in the year, and I'm absolutely thrilled. That's the kind of caliber of writer that I'm going to be associated with that book. I couldn't be prouder. So yeah, this is a superb episode. Laura's a great guest. Listen out for digressions on stop frame animation and Harryhausen. We get into cyberpunk again, actually, but this time via the Metal Gear Solid games, so that's nice. And that links into ED209. And in general, just enjoy. Laura hadn't seen the film in about a decade or even slightly more, perhaps. So enjoy Laura rediscovering bits of the film as she goes through and remembering incidents slightly before they happen or as they're happening. It's a real delight, that voyage of rediscovery that we go on in this podcast. So without further ado, let's watch some Robocop, shall we? Here's me and Laura. So it is my great pleasure to welcome to the show Laura Mauro. Laura, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm happy. I tell you what, I'm just happy to be sitting and watching Robocop. That's the honest truth.
Are you not a little bit sick of this by now, or is
Not even remotely. This is the treat I give myself if I get all my work done. I get to sit and watch Robocop with a friend. Honestly, this is always a highlight of the month when I get around to doing it. And it's been too long. I've been slack, as my Patreon backers will tell you. So really happy to be getting back on the horse. Thank you for agreeing to join me.
No, I'm glad to oblige.
So we'll start with the 5 questions. Same 5 questions I ask every guest. And question number 1: how old were you when you first saw Robocop?
Right, I had a really good think about this because I've seen it twice in my life, and I am reasonably sure the first time I saw it, I must have been about 12, maybe. Okay. I saw it. I know I was on video, and it was from Blockbuster, so that's dating me a little bit. So yeah, because I was born in 86, and I think it came out in 87. Is that right? Or
that's correct.
Late 80s.
Yeah.
Something around that time. So it's sort of always, I suppose, always been there in the background, hasn't it? But yeah, I want to say I think 12 or thereabouts. Okay. Probably too young.
You'd be amazed how often that's a thread, I tell you, with this movie. Interesting. It seems to have that impact. Okay, so you've already answered it, actually. So you've seen Robocop twice. That's how many times you've seen it?
Yes, I'm sure it's only twice. I've not one of those films I've never caught on TV. Weirdly enough.
You know what though? That's a good thing because they did a woeful TV edit of it in the 90s where they took out a lot of the violence
stuff
and all the
swearing.
What's the point of it? Oh, it was.
What's the point of Robocop about violence and swearing?
It was honestly, it was. I mean, it was kind of entertaining, but in like a deeply awful way. You know, like it was just painful.
Bad shell of a film.
Yeah, it was. It was only about 20 minutes long. I mean, it was completely pointless. Okay, so given those 2 answers, question number 3: when is the last time that you saw Robocop?
Right, the last time would be I was either 14 or 15, and it was still VHS at that time. I don't think we'd quite made the great leap to DVD at that point. And I remember watching it with my friend from school at the time, and she'd never seen it before. And I don't actually think she was impressed by it, but I enjoyed it. So,
so it stood up again. It stood up at 15, revisiting it from 12.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right. Well, I'm really excited to see what happens tonight. Then this could be really interesting.
There's quite some distance between then and now, so
there is.
And I've got things, when you remember bits of films, but you're not quite sure that's actually what happened in the film. So, I want to see how much of it matches up to what I remember. Okay,
well, I'm excellent. I look forward to seeing the experiment as it plays out tonight. That's great. Question number 4.
Yeah.
No wrong answers to this one, except unless I say it's a wrong answer. I mean, there are wrong answers. People are giving wrong answers, but no pressure. Why do you think Robocop is the greatest movie ever made?
That's you said there's no wrong answers, Kit, but we know there's wrong answers to this question. I'm going to go with because everything is better with cyborgs.
That's a great answer.
I mean, everything's better with cyborgs.
That's a copper-bottomed answer. There's no issues there at all.
Good.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So far, so good. So if you just let everyone else know which version of Robocop we're going to be watching together tonight.
It's just the original theatrical version, I believe, on DVD.
Superb. So yes, that's the UK DVD version of Robocop. So if you are, for some reason, playing along at home, if you are deciding, you know what, I want to sit and watch Robocop with Kit and Laura. Well, firstly, yes, you do, and well spotted. That's your good taste, and it's just I applaud it. Well done. But secondly, we're about to start watching the movie, so I'll do the counting backwards from 5, and when I get to 0, we will both be hitting play, and we'll be watching Robocop. So, Laura, if you're ready on the pause button.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Awesome. Excellent. So then in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go Robo. The lion roars.
Love that lion. That's just one of the sort of things I remember most from my childhood. Is everything started with the Metro Goldwyn Mayer, which I'm sure is really, really cruel, actually. I'm sure there was a tremendous amount of animal cruelty involved in that.
You do worry because it was the era before they had the Humane Society who would have to, you'd have to get their permission for
circus animals. That poor animal, he probably lived his life in a cage no bigger than a tube carriage or something. Poor thing.
Well, the interesting thing is like the 40s version of him. He's actually stalking towards the camera. It looks like he's shot in a jungle or something. Like it really does look like live nature footage. And then you got that one where it's a bit more kind of bit suspect.
Yeah, he's quite clearly stuck in a very small. Oh, I love the pan. It reminds me of Escape from New York, the panning over the city sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all these kind of 80s action films had that same kind of aesthetic, didn't they? That sort of very metropolitan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a nice gag here early on where we've got actually one of these two news hosts in real life hosted the Entertainment Weekly show in the US.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she was, so she would have been known as this kind of, I mean, obviously, it was entertainment news. It was kind of very bubbly stuff. So the idea of having her fronting up the real news, it's already kind of a pop at the culture, it's already kind
serious. Yeah. And she got some real 80s styling going on. The hair is,
yeah, that
beautiful,
is
beautiful hair,
isn't it?
Yeah, I admire the commitment to style. Is that a wig? It's got to be a wig.
You'd hope, yeah. And I love how
Trump.
Yeah, there you go. And I love how we're like straight. We're what are we? 60 seconds into a news broadcast, and we've got an ad break.
Yeah,
because
I was in America a few years ago, and I was kind of, because you grow up with this sort of thing, and you think, it can't really be like that. And it genuinely is. The adverts are they just appear in the middle of like totally serious broadcasts, and they'll sell you anything. I didn't realise they actually sell drugs like pharmaceuticals. You don't just go down to your pharmacy. They advertise them on TV. It's weird. It's a little bit alarming.
I mean, that's one of the things, isn't it? That's one of the consequences of not having a national health service you don't even think about is the notion of, because it's like that's just alien to us, right? It's like
you take what your doctor prescribes you, don't you? Or you go into the pharmacy, you go behind the counter, and the idea that all these companies are competing for your custom for the sake of your health. Oh, I don't like that. That creeps me out.
It's not great, is it? And it is, isn't it? It's ask your doctor about whatever, and it's like
ask your doctor about this particular prostate thing. It's whatever it is. But how do you know? Where's the neutrality in that? If they're trying to sell you something, of course they're going to cope with any old shite. So this will make you a millionaire and make you happy, and they can say what they like. It's oh, hang on, someone's unhappy.
Yeah.
This is another thing I love about American police shows. I'd love to know if these precincts are real, or if
Yeah.
is that really what happens in America? They've got these like chaotic, crowded precincts. Nice shirt.
Oh yeah, no, the shirt gets a lot of love on this show. I got to tell you, it's not universally popular, but those of us that love it really do love it.
That's a good shirt,
isn't it? I mean, he wears it well. You got to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, he's a very well put together. He's not like, he doesn't look like your action hero guy, but that's a well put together man.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some cheekbones on him,
Oh yes, and of course, crucially for this film, very expressive lower jaw, because. Yeah,
he's got the whole. I remember reading somewhere that was one of the big selling points for him, was the fact that, oh, there you go, nudity. Yeah. We're like 10 minutes in, let's have some butts.
Yep. And it's equal opportunities. That's the male nudity. We're about to get the female nudity. It's. I
remember actually seeing this when I was young and thinking that it was pretty cool that basically these men and women are sort of changing in front of each other. No one's batting an eyelid. It's totally.
Yeah.
I liked that even when I was young. The idea that you've got men and women in a completely non-sexual environment, non-sexual nudity.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could do that now. It's weird, isn't it?
It is odd. I mean, I think it's a little mini obsession of Paul Verhoeven's, because he does the same thing as Starship Troopers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
And I think it's just his. I mean, for me, that's Paul Verhoeven telling you it's the future, because in the future, men and women shower and they're not bothered.
Yeah. Which you would hope would be.
Yeah.
And there's the irony, right? This is made in 1987 or released in 1987. We are 30 years. No. Yeah. Yeah, 30 years gone from, 30 years gone from that time, and we have not reached this level of comfort with nudity or anything like that, or gender. It's still unthinkable that you'd have that in in a professional situation, which is a little bit depressing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a little bit depressing. Yeah, you'd still.
On the other hand, this movie projects the idea that there may still be some kind of union power in America in 2018. So that, I mean, actually,
that's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's quite encouraging, really.
Yeah. She's my hero.
Oh, here she is.
I didn't. I think a lot of people probably found this, that Lewis didn't realise she was a woman until she takes the helmet off. And oh, it's a chick.
Yeah.
So I remember loving her as a kid.
Yeah, it's certainly shot for that, isn't it? It's shot to make the reveal a big shocker when you see, oh, wow, okay.
I think they do deliberately go with a sort of androgynous vibe for her. Because also, here's another interesting thing, the way that she's got her body armour. So when you see fictionalised body armour with women, it's always kind of done with like the kind of the boob armour sort of thing, like to accommodate the bust. Yeah. It's like, I'm not being funny, but she's going to care far more about not getting shot than she is about maintaining her womanly silhouette. So again, it's the whole. Yeah. Although that does bring up a kind of another can of worms about how androgyny defaults to male. Like, it's interesting, isn't it? Because whenever you think of androgyny, it's always sort of. There's almost like a really masculine silhouette involved, or masculine tailoring, masculine clothing, which on one hand is, that guy. Sorry, I'm having that guy.
You're okay.
I'm sure. I think he's in the X-Files.
Oh, it's possible. I wasn't a big X-Files fan, so I don't know. Which guy?
No,
one of these.
Peaks. He's in Twin Peaks.
Oh, Twin Peaks. Yeah. It's Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, he's wonderful. He's wonderful.
I knew it was going to be one or the other. Oh wow.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a lot of these moments on around. It's that guy. It's that guy. What was he in?
He is not the only Twin Peaks alumni in this film. There is another one later on. So, keep your eyes peeled. Yeah.
I'm just going to be watching in the middle in full flow of conversation. It's him.
There he is. Yeah. I don't think you'll miss him when he pops up. The other guy. I
love things like that where you just get these recurring actors who pop up, and then always in kind of like middling roles. But I love it.
Yeah.
It's like a sort of weird universal continuity, particularly in 80s films.
Yeah. I particularly like him in this because I think his character's so fun because he's spoilers, but he's the creator of Robocop. He's the guy who builds him, but he's not a remotely likable human being.
No, he's awful. I remember him being absolute shit in this film. Yeah.
He is, yeah.
But like a love to hate kind of guy. Like you like when he's on screen, even though you actually hate his guts.
And the thing is, he's up against some characters that are so vilely looks kind of vaguely acceptable in comparison. It's that kind of
it's like Grey Morality. He's slightly less grey than some of the other greys.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just kind of he's a fun character. It's a fun performance. So we're here in this is the big boardroom scene. Which is a wonderful set, by the way. I really love it.
The whole look of it is actually believably modern as well, because I think sometimes you get with these films where they imagine the future that it dates itself, doesn't it? Like you look at it and think, well, the future isn't going to look that way, but conceivably the future. I mean, that wouldn't, apart from the TVs, but I'll give them a pass on that. I don't think
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about Robocop is it's made in 1987 and it's set in the near future, so it probably is still set in our past if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like it's probably set in the 90s, notionally, like the late 90s, and I think it fits pretty well for that.
Yeah, I think it's totally believable as the way things would look now. I mean, the whole look of it it's very kind of, it's not so over ambitious. It's not. Wearing its futurism on its sleeve, like all the glass and the sharp edges that you see a lot of time. It's pretty tasteful, actually.
Yeah.
Even though
No, go on.
No, I was just going to point out all the fellas in the boardroom are still mostly old white dudes in suits. But there is a mix. Actually, I was just about to say that, and I was kind of shut my mouth a little bit because there are a few women and there's at least one black guy. So
yeah,
probably. It's this dude. Well, not dude.
There he is.
Ed something.
Ed 209.
Ed 209. Yeah. Oh, I remember this. Doesn't he? Yeah, something. I think I remember what happens here.
Here he comes. Not long to wait. I cannot tell you how many.
Motion, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Oh, I love it. It looks like CGI would not. You wouldn't get the same effect with CGI because it looks like it belongs there.
The thing is, stop motion works really well for mechanics.
Yeah. And it's got a really uncanny feel, hasn't it? Like it's a little bit uncomfortable to see it there.
Yeah. But it should be, because mechanics are uncomfortable. I mean, that's why it's such a great fit as an effects choice. I mean, they didn't have any choice. It was 87. They didn't have digital. This is like...
But in a way, that's really fortunate, isn't it? Because I think if they'd had digital, it would have been... And even now, I don't think you'd get the same feel with digital. It's...
No, I agree.
The kind of the jerkiness and the motion... you can't replicate that.
And there's a weight to it as well, I think.
Yeah, it feels physical, doesn't it? Yeah, I do remember this bit.
This is one of the great, I mean,
this is one of the bits when you're 14, you're like, oh!
Yeah. But this is kind of it's one of the reasons this movie is so important to me, because this scene I remember distinctly. I remember the first time I saw this, I was 11 when I watched this film. And I remember the first time I saw this scene, I was genuinely horrified by it, like really kind of upset.
Yeah.
And then somewhere around the fourth or fifth viewing, I suddenly realised it was hysterically funny.
Yeah, it's just black comedy, isn't it?
Yeah, but that was a real pivot moment for me, for my brain to kind of recognise that a sequence could be horrific and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, they're all realising, oh, shit's about to go down. This poor dude.
So great.
And they're just pushing him. No, mate, you're you.
Oh, yeah,
you're sacrificial lamb.
No friends in the boardroom.
No.
Oh.
I mean, it shouldn't be funny, though. It shouldn't be.
I know, it shouldn't, but it is. But it's just so over the top, isn't it?
It is. It just, he's staggering as he's getting shot and there's blood flying everywhere. It's just like anime death, isn't it? And then he just lands on the little diorama thing.
That's a perfect touch, isn't it?
Yeah,
He lands on the model of Delta City. Yeah, that's just glorious.
Very disappointing.
It's such
a great statement.
Yeah. No, the dialogue here is lovely.
Yeah. A glitch. Only $50 million. I mean, that's a drop in the ocean in 2018 standard. $50 million, that's nothing. It'll be fine.
I just love the thing of, like, for a second there, you think the old man might be upset that someone's just been murdered in front of him. No, not about
that guy has money involved, man. Exactly. $50 million. I mean, again, some things don't change, do they?
No, right, absolutely.
And this poor dude is just laying. No, everyone's just left him now. He's just laying there.
Oh, yeah. While Bob Morton makes his pitch for Robocop, right? That's what he's doing, right? He's like, hey, look, I could fix this. You could use my project.
Yeah.
Like, scumbag.
I love it. It does take a unique kind of scumbag to go, hey, dude's just died. This is my moment. This is where my pitch comes in.
But that's what I love about it. I mean, the amorality of the corporate characters in this is what I love. They're all, every single one in that boardroom is just a psychopath. Like there's no good people in a suit in this film.
Which is, art imitating life. And, that's kind of a peculiar thing with the 80s as well, isn't it? There's kind of like a real anxiety around corporations and businesses. And I think it's very of its time because it was the greed is good era, and you can see all of that reflect. I mean, you wouldn't say, I don't know, I have to rewatch it, but I guess you wouldn't say Robocop was a particularly kind of political revolutionary film, but there is politics in it.
I think Robocop is surprisingly political, actually.
I'm interested.
Go on.
No, I'm just saying I'm interested to sort of see with adult eyes, so to speak.
Sure. I mean, it's a co-authored piece. There were two principal authors on the script, and one of them certainly, when he wrote it, was a Marxist. I don't know if he still is, but he was. When he wrote
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it does. There is the commentary on corporate culture actually is really, really cutting. It really is quite. It's quite.
That's why everyone in a suit is a bastard.
Yeah, well, and the fact that the plot, they privatise the police service.
Yeah.
Right. So that Omni Consumer Products own the police.
Yeah.
And that's central to the entire plot. That's how they get to do the Robocop project. So it's pretty intense. Yeah. Oh, and here we go. Meet the baddies.
Again, they've got this the 80s tough guy. Look at him. No, where's he?
There
it's bloody Leland, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
That's Leland Palmer, no way.
Yeah. Leland Palmer with a shotgun.
I never thought I'd see him as a tough guy. Oh, that's brilliant.
Wonderful stuff. Yeah. And this is I think, just a really well put together 80s action sequence, this.
Yeah.
It's well directed. It's it's really well edited.
There's the dude from that 70s show as well in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
there's this proper treasure trove of.
Oh,
again, like an improbable tough guy, but
Kurtwood Smith. He is a really improbable tough guy, but
Yeah.
he's wonderful at this. Because he is he's the head of the gang, and he is really, really villainous. Like, he is a really nasty piece of work. And I love that. Yeah, I love the fact that he looks like an accountant. I just think that's wonderful.
Yeah, he really like an evil accountant.
Yeah.
If all suits are evil, then surely accountants are.
There you
on
go. Well,
yeah.
Logic suggests. Yeah.
I love it. There's something really interesting about how low tech the weaponry is as well. It's just shotguns.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's great. It's really kind of grimy and dirty. You could have all kinds of pulse rifles or whatever, but no, you just go with a nice classic old shotgun.
And again, this is all physical, so this is all stunt work.
Nice. Everyone loves a dude through the window.
I mean, most of that is happening in the editing, but it's so well put together. They sell it.
Very well cut, isn't it? It just looks believable.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really brilliant action sequence.
I love the look of it. It reminds me. I don't know if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII, but it's so Midgar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The city, the ruined city. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think obviously it's really cyberpunk influenced Final Fantasy VII, so it's got that kind of, but it just that really worn down vibe. Like you've got the nice shiny glassy corporate-y bits, and you've got this. Yeah.
And this is, that's the other thing is like this is someone in 1987's projection of what Detroit was going to look like in 10 years, and all right, it took 20 years, but it's not.
It's not far off the mark, is it? Yeah.
No, depressingly accurate.
The vision in this is quite impressive, actually.
Yeah.
And I think maybe because it's not reaching too far into the future, it is trying to keep things plausible.
Yeah. I think that helps. But also, if you project forward from Reagan's America and assume that Republicans are going to keep winning every single election, it's going to look like this in about 10 years, actually. It's definitely not, Okay, now I have to say this is not my favourite moment in the film.
I figure it's the same for most men.
No, it's not that. It's the way it's the handling of Lewis's character in this sequence.
Is this not the getting shot in the dick bit?
No,
that does happen in this film, doesn't it?
No, this is this is her not being able to resist checking that the guy's unzipped. Which
yeah.
I just
it seems like a misstep for her, doesn't it? Because she's very crisp and not by the book, but like you wouldn't think she'd make a mistake like that.
It's kind of bollocks. It's really like I understand how like in storytelling terms. Well, she needs to be taken out for the rest of this scene to play out. So I'm
100 ways you could play that, though, aren't there?
I'm really angry that they didn't find a better way to write it. Yeah. It's just and the other thing is like she's not like that in the rest of the film. For the rest of the film, she's really competent, tough cop, and it's just like why did you have to?
And of all things, look at why would you care if it was unzipped? I don't get it.
But that's why, even the greatest movie in the world will have a flaw. And
I think flaws are necessary for it to be good.
Yeah.
I think, no, seriously, I think that the flaws are just as important to a film sometimes.
Yeah, maybe. And it's certainly
so far, Lewis is still. Yeah, definitely. His attitude of the era as well. I mean, as forward a character as Lewis is, it's still the 80s.
Yeah, unfortunately. This guy was in ER, by the way. I don't know if you ever watched ER. But
I've never seen ER, but I kind of recognise his face. I've probably seen him in. Or maybe I've seen him in the adverts for ER or something.
He played like a hilariously grumpy doctor in ER. It was really fun.
I can't get over Leland.
It's great, isn't it? And he's having so much fun, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's proper
every time you see it, look at that grin.
Yeah. He's so young though. Look at the hair he's got. He's looking good, old Leland.
He's so not
bad for a daughter murderer.
I think he just has an incredible face as well.
He does. He really does.
I mean, he was born for cinema with that face. He really was. Oh, here we go.
It's red.
Yeah. But look, I mean,
the guy looks like Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney didn't go into football, and
I love the way Weller plays us though, because he at least half of the sales job of how scary this guy is and how Weller's reacting to him. You look at his face and like it's terror, you know.
Yeah.
It's a really great performance.
He's got. I think he usually talk about a face made for cinema. I think he's got that as well.
Weller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
And you just talk about emoting in it just the little micro expressions that he's got. Because his face isn't doing a lot, but it is at the same time. You just have to kind of look at his eyes.
Really, it's really impressive. He's doing so much, as you say, with very little movement, and it's really impressive. But this is this is a rough old sequence.
This is brutal. Yeah, I remember this.
Yes.
Oh no. I know what's coming. I remember when I first watched this, I was like, you can't kill him already. Like, obviously he becomes Robocop, spoiler alert, but oh man.
Oof.
Oh no. That's where you know this guy is pure evil. I'm just gonna shoot this fucker's hand off.
Well, and again, it's the sick humor, right? Give the man a hand, and it's just like it's so callous, isn't it? It's
Arnold Schwarzenegger levels of pun, but like it's not. It's funny, but it's also really not funny.
Yeah, it's so wrong. Oof.
Oh yeah, and then she catches. Oh, that's the bit as well where she comes in and she can see it, but she can't stop it.
She can't get there.
Yeah. Oh, it's no kill like overkill, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of what Verhoeven's going for here.
Yeah.
I think it's like, oh, you want a violent action movie? Okay, I'm going to use more squibs than you've ever seen.
Yeah. But it doesn't. There's no glamour in it, is there? It's just this shit hurts. This is not good.
Right. No, and I appreciate that. I don't like it. I appreciate
no, definitely. No, I think that's how, if you're going to have gratuitous violence,
it should be ugly.
Not to moralise, but it should be ugly. It should be real.
Yeah.
I admit I've always been not always, but I'm pretty much a committed pacifist. So if there's going to be violence, I kind of feel like it does need to serve a purpose. And not in I don't like violence kind of way, but just particularly now we live in a hugely violent world.
Yeah.
And it's very easy with the internet and all that, YouTube and all that sort of, I think to see violence and not appreciate the impact of it. And then you see something like this, and I think it's handled incredibly well because there is no glamour to it. It's just this poor guy getting shot to pieces and bleeding out, and it's horrible. Yeah,
no, it's really tough. And it's also like, they've done, again, in story, I really think this movie in storytelling terms is a masterpiece. And one of the reasons I think that is we've had 10 minutes with this guy.
Yeah.
And we already care about him enough that we're really upset at what's just happened,
But also look how much story's been told in this time. It never feels, it doesn't feel like they've crammed it in. It feels like every bit of story they've had so far has belonged. Yeah. If that makes sense. It doesn't feel like they've just rushed it.
It is amazingly efficient. I'm a big fan of like really pacey storytelling, whether it's novels or films or anything. I love when I pick up a book and I put it down 4 hours later and I've just swallowed it, because it's paced that well. And I love it when a good movie does that. And I feel like that is one thing about 80s movies in particular, the good ones. The really good ones. Yeah.
Because there are some bad ones.
There are a lot of bad ones, but the good ones, like, I think about stuff like Raiders, where one of the things about Raiders is it's a perfectly paced movie.
Yeah.
There's no fat on the bones at all. It just zips along.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that without feeling too superficial as well, because that's the other thing. You run the risk of you go too quickly.
Yeah,
there's no substance to it, so you've got to have a balance. And I think you're right. There's something about. Can I just point out here, by the way, medical nerd? That's great that they don't shock him when he flatlines. So one of my pet hates is when someone's heart flatlines, and then they use defibrillators.
Yep.
If you look, he's clearly got an arrhythmia in the background. You shock an arrhythmia, you don't shock a flatline, and it really pisses me off because one of the first things they teach you in life support is if someone's flatlined, there's no point. You go straight in for CPR,
right?
Because the heart has stopped. A shock is supposed to
bring it back into
bring back the rhythm. Exactly. Yeah, it cures an arrhythmia. It doesn't do anything for a heart. Sorry,
no, it's cool. I noticed they did. Well, they did an adrenaline shot to the heart there before the final shock, didn't they? Which again, my understanding is that's. Oh, and I love this. Oh, see, I haven't done one of these in a couple of months, so I'm actually I'm reconnecting with my Robocop love here. But I love this sequence. Because again, the screen goes black. It's like the film's over, and then you've got
he's dead.
Like, what is going on now? What is all this?
And it's deliberately disorientating as well. Nice 80s glasses. Love it.
Oh yes. And I really like that. I like the line effect, the fact that it looks like an 80s TV screen.
Yeah.
All of that. It's really nice. And again,
here he is. No, I just like it whenever he comes on the screen. He's brilliant.
He is great.
I wish I knew he was terrible, but yeah.
Yeah. But this is again the storytelling. We're getting all the exposition here, but from this really unusual perspective that keeps us fascinated. Like, what is going on?
Well, this is it. You don't know what's happening at this point. You start to put the pieces together. And you're like, oh,
yeah. But we stay with this POV for quite a while now as well. We stay with the Robocop POV for the next, I think it's the next sort of 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Just a long time to run, and it works really well. And we're getting all these gags. I love this moment. look how the woman grins and then hides the fact that she's smiling because she hates him.
She's probably thinking you're such a prick.
Because he's a dick to work for, and she just got to crush his hand a little bit with the hand.
And he's the kind of sexist asshole that walks around like pinching bums and all that in the office. You just know he's that kind of.
We see him do it in another 5 minutes. He actually grabs one of the women and just kisses her on the mouth, and it's so like, and she is clearly not remotely into it. She's clearly just like, get your fucking hands off me. So it's nice to see
so
that.
Wrong, this isn't it?
This is surreal. Yeah,
it's horrible. I mean, because the thing is, they've done this to this guy, and this is the key. It's non-consensual.
Yeah,
like everything they've done to him is completely without consent. So it makes this whole thing. It kind of takes body horror to a whole new level because it's not just body horror; it's body horror that other people have visited upon you.
Yeah,
because he's a policeman, right? He must have been prepared to die in the field. That I guess that's part of it. So he's died in the field. He's lived that part of his duty, and now all of a sudden, hang on a sec.
Yeah,
I'm back. What?
Yeah, and it's really like, and one of the things that the film leaves open, I think, really intelligently, is how much of him is back.
Yeah.
And it really it's almost like he's a ghost haunting his own machine. Like he's not, there's a line later on, I can feel them, but I can't remember them, when he's talking about his family, how much of him really is Murphy and how much of it is just random.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like almost like a simulation. Yeah.
But that just adds to the poignancy of it for me.
Yeah, it does. Because this is it, you spend the first however 20 minutes or so of the film getting attached to this character, and you're not even really sure that it's still this character that you're following for the rest of the film. He's been in loads of stuff as well, this guy.
The desk sergeant.
Yeah, he's got one of those faces that I've seen him in about 100 things.
Yeah, Robert DeQuire. Yeah, he was a character
actor.
Was he in The Crow? Oh God.
I don't know. I'll give me an excuse to watch The Crow again, which I don't have an excuse for.
Any excuse. Yeah, me too. Now that's one that is like carbon dated as a movie. I mean,
100%. Yeah,
it's so much of its era, but
but in a way that doesn't detract from it. I think it's like a time capsule of a film. It's perfect.
Yeah, and I also think for me with The Crow, I just saw it at the absolute perfect age to see
exactly. Yeah, same. It was kind of like the beginnings of my teen goth days, and it was just like that film was everything.
And it just takes you back there every time, right? You just watch it.
Oh, 100%. You watch it, and that's it. I'm 15 years old and in love with Brandon Lee, and everything is terrible, but also perfect.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's it. I'm just listening to Antichrist Superstar for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What is that?
Oh, yes. That's his food.
Oh.
Because his digestive system is very simple, so that's what he has to eat. Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah,
he likes
not
it.
Good, is it? And he loves it. Yeah, Johnson's all about it. Yeah. The other thing, though, you were saying, going back to like the thing about the body horror side of it, because the other thing about Robocop for me is it's a retelling of Frankenstein.
Yeah, you're right. It is, isn't it? But even with the whole revenge narrative, revenge beyond the grave, isn't it? If I'm remembering it right.
No, absolutely. Yes, we will be getting some revenge. It's an 80s movie. There better be some
It's always a bit of revenge.
What are we doing here?
Well, that was one of the beautiful things about The Crow, wasn't it? I mean, you know, as an adult, it's like, oh, you know, you understand there's more nuance to that. Revenge isn't always the be all and end all, but in The Crow, God, you just want him to get his revenge so much.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? It's just, and it's everything about it is designed to just be like, welcome to guilt-free ultra-violence, kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything they get, and they are going to get it. So just
there's no kind of, you don't need to think about there
it is. Yeah, he's vile.
She's kind of smiling, but you know that she's dying inside.
Yeah. She's just like, I can't believe I have to work with this fucking guy.
Like 30 years later, she'll be on the internet talking about it. You know? Why did you say something at the time?
Yeah. No, this guy wouldn't have survived 5 minutes of Me Too. That would be it.
He'd probably go into hiding as soon as he heard about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he'd be
you
hiring.
know that man has got skeletons in his closet.
He'd be hiring Weinstein's lawyers and bunkering up somewhere, I think. This is a lovely sequence. Again, just the storytelling. It's just...
Yeah. He's dead. The glee with which they watch this guy just rip pretend people to shreds is so inappropriate. He's a killing machine. It's beautiful.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, they are all cops, and it's like it is a bit disturbing. Like, yay, violence, you know?
Yeah, it's not like was it protect and serve or whatever it is. It's more like just kill.
Yeah. Protect, serve, kick ass. I don't know.
Yeah.
That took like 50 takes or something ridiculous.
I can imagine it did, yeah.
Because his gloves made out of rubber. Yeah. So the keys kept bouncing off every time he tried to make the cat.
Moving though as well. Because the suit is very, very cool. But again, I think it's quite plausible design wise. But I bet that was an absolute bastard.
He lost pounds a day. He sweated out pounds a day. And it took him. Yeah, I think it took him 6 hours to get into the suit. It was. The driving seats were just watching. He's not wearing any trousers because he couldn't drive with the legs on. So.
Just
you get to do the driving sequence. Yeah, exactly. You get to do the driving sequences of the waist up, which were good days.
That must have been relief for him.
Yeah. I know it was hell. It was a hellish shoot for him for Weller. Yeah, absolutely. He spent.
It's amazing that he.
Go on.
No, I was just gonna say it's amazing that he manages to kind of stay so perfectly stoic throughout. You know, considering how uncomfortable he must have been.
Well, he spent a couple. Once he got the job, he spent literally 2 months with a professional mime learning how to move.
Really, a professional mime?
Yeah,
that's so cool. I mean, I never thought I'd say mimes are cool.
No, but he wanted to get the mechanical movements exactly right. He wanted to get to the point where it was instinctive for him. You know, where he was just doing it.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, it's he's as a serious actor, man.
He's probably like Method, isn't it? Like,
well, and can you imagine they wanted to cast Arnie in this? The studio wanted Arnie. I mean, can you imagine?
Really? No, it wouldn't have been the same, would it? I mean, the understatedness of it is. You could just look. He's just so doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
No fucks given.
No. But this is like, I love the power fantasy of this too. Just the idea of being bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's the same as The Crow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see, well, he can't die. He's died once already. You know, it's how can you kill that which is not? But, I like because the violence here, the violence that he inflicts in the beginning is kind of very comic book, isn't it? You know, he's literally just throwing this dude through a fridge, and it's so kind of unreal feeling.
Yeah. Well, and also,
which I guess
the baddies are sort of cartoon villains.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy.
Yeah,
it's like Streets of Rage shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, this is just like, these guys are just like, look, we're going to get our equity card renewed for another 12 months. Just grin and bear it. Just do what you got to do, you know.
Just takes this poor woman in her perm,
Oh.
I mean, to be fair, I'd probably cut her hair off as well.
Okay.
Like, not to be judgmental or anything.
No, probably not with probably not with a Bowie knife, though. I mean, you know.
Well, you use what you've got to hand, don't you?
Okay.
Love the guys. Look at the fringes on his jacket. How can you take yourself seriously as a criminal when you're wearing that fucking jacket?
I mean, that's clearly why he's a desperate man.
Yeah, that's all he's got. That's the only clothing he owns.
Exactly. It's like he has to go out in public in that jacket. So
yeah, dressed like that.
Ask yourself what he's got to lose at that point. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I did wonder why he was aiming at her crotch. Oh, that's the dick shot. I remember the dick shot. Love a dick shot.
It's quite memorable, isn't it?
I just love the fact that I remember that there was a dick shot, but not the context of it. Clearly, it made an impression of me when I was 14.
There's a lovely gag here. If you look at the background billboard and the caption on it,
lining.
that is adorable.
I also love the strategic positioning of the gun there as well. There's a very deliberately phallic thing going on with the spooning heroin and.
But I also love how his response is completely mechanical. He's just pat
her on the head.
And this is kind of the Judge Dredd sequence too, right? This is
yeah.
Which obviously Judge Dredd was a major influence on this.
I was going to ask you if Judge Dredd came first or whether this came first. I don't remember. Yeah,
Dredd's I think Dredd is 69. I think Dredd's.
Is it that old? Really?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's very old. Yeah.
Again, I guess that's a film that's always been there, so it's always been part of my consciousness as well. Which sometimes you just, it's been your whole life, and
Well, the thing about Dredd as well is, I mean, Dredd's like an iconic American character, and yet, of course, he's not. He's British. It's a British, it's a British comic book that's run him for all these years. So it's kind of
it's almost like so American that only a non-American could make it that American.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again,
very observational.
Similar to Robocop, where you've got obviously a European director, and I think that it does.
But I feel like this has got there is a real European, and I can't put my finger on why, but there is something really European about a lot of this, and I feel like it's the lens that it's viewed through. Because again, like when you say Judge Dredd is quintessentially American, but in a way that only someone observing America from the outside could put together, and I feel like this is almost the same thing. It's so. It's very critical for a start. Very critical of that era of Ronald Reagan's America, and obviously Thatcher's Britain by extension, I guess is. But it's very critical in a way that I think you'd have to be on the outside because there's no emotion in the criticism. If that makes sense, it's not regretful.
No, that's true. No, it does make sense. I think also for me, it's about where the humor falls. Because there is a lot of humor in 80s action movies, of course, including the American. I mean, Die Hard's a very funny film as well as being a really good action movie. But the fact is the humor here often is at the expense of the people committing the actions. It's much more pointed, and it's much, and that I think that's part of that outsider European sensibility.
It almost becomes satirical, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, I think Robocop is great. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Your comic book violence again. It's brilliant. And then there's the kind of the ultra violence where it's so violent that it doesn't feel real. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and also the turning it straight into the news footage is just the pace of the storytelling. We're going to keep it moving. We're just. I'm just so impressed with it.
Now Robocop's kissing children, or trying not to be freaked out by them.
I love this line.
That's Arnie. That's an Arnie line, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think Weller delivered it better than Arnie could have done.
It was so deadpan.
Yeah.
So sort of unconvincingly unemotional.
And what?
It's just like battleship, but nuclear. Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, isn't it just? And this is the satire,
Oh no, I don't like this.
Yeah, no, it's not good, is it? Well, I know you and I have been doing some very similar research, haven't we? It
really does bring back a lot of that stuff I've been reading. It's like
it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Interestingly, when this was shown on American network television, it was shown unedited, so they kept in all the lines. So the only line that was cut was the child in that sequence saying, "Pakistan is threatening my borders."
Really?
For some reason, that didn't make it to the American. I have no idea.
Obviously, I want to accept Pakistan,
What's the decision-making process there,
We'll leave in all the violence and the dick shots and the nude. We're not going to, let's not mention Pakistan.
Let's just not do that. I don't know. It's very, how oddly delicate.
Yeah,
it's a bit of sensibility. I don't know.
There must be some weird political thing there. There's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no clue. Now, this, again, talking about Verhoeven, who else could put a camera there? That is genius filmmaking.
Imagine being the extra. Basically, you've got to sit on this toilet with your pants down, just to ignore the camera, just, let nature take its course.
Oh, it's not an extra.
Is it not? Oh, I've forgotten this.
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's really clever.
So it's a significant toilet camera.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite kind of toilet camera.
Well, yeah, the best kind. All those irrelevant ones really piss me off, but
yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. That's how scared he is of whoever just came out.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That's
so
gross.
Good. Again, storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, it is true. It reminds me of Metal Gear Solid games had a pretty weird preoccupation with people pissing themselves for some reason as a shorthand for fear. And I mean, this whole film is really so Metal Gear Solid in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
The aesthetic and obviously the cyborg. I don't know if you've ever played the games, but they do love a cyborg, and also they love a non-consensual cyborg. We're not going to have any of this consensual cyborgification. No, we're going to turn dead guys into cyborgs without even asking. We love a bit of that.
Oh, it's great. I mean,
I'm surprised Metal Gear Solid did not take its. I know it's heavily influenced by Escape from New York, but I would be shocked if it didn't take cues from this too.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just so rich for storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so rich with potential.
Look at his face as he's getting a dressing down. He you can tell he just wants to yell back. Look at him.
Oh, it's so great.
Such a dick.
He's so cocky. Yeah. And it's great because everyone else is really scared of this guy.
Yeah.
So is he confident because he knows something they don't, or do they know something he doesn't?
Yeah.
He's the relatively young one in this setup. So I really love how but I mean, these two actors are just having a ball. They really.
They're great. They play off each other. There's a real chemistry there, isn't there? Between
absolutely. Yeah. No, it's really nice. Direct hit. He didn't like that.
Oh, that's just creepy.
Oh, yes.
It does make you ask questions, doesn't it? There's a lot of kind of a real homoerotic vibe going on here. Look at the way he's looking at him.
I tell you what, you watch that without the sound on, you think it's going somewhere very different.
Yeah, no, seriously.
You really do. It's there's a lot of repressed emotion in there.
I feel like that's entirely deliberate as well.
Yeah.
They've played that very specifically in that way, and I'm really intrigued. I'd love to hear what the thought behind that was, because that's not ambiguous.
No, and again,
maybe I've read too much fan fiction, but
no. I suspect Verhoeven again. I suspect his
bloody Europeans.
That's exactly. That's like it's the kind of thing he likes to play with.
Yeah.
But I just think Verhoeven's inherently interested in that stuff. He's inherently interested in human sexuality, and this isn't a movie that's primarily interested in that. But
no, but it's an undercurrent, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting because the whole kind of homoeroticism of male bonding is a very, even now is a really touchy subject. I mean, I say this as somebody who I'm a huge wrestling fan. Massive wrestling fan, and the number of straight, not just, but it is mostly straight guys who refuse to see the homoeroticism inherent in wrestling when it's right there in front of you. It's actually one of the draws of it, So it's really interesting to me that that being present in a mainstream action film is that is not ambiguous.
No,
I don't know. I think it's great.
There's another relationship later on between Clarence and Dick Jones. So Clarence is the guy who killed Robocop in the first place. Yeah. And they only get one scene together, but again, when we get there, watch the body language, see if you see what I see, because I think there's some stuff going on.
I love little things like that though. It's layering. It's so clever to put, because there's no need to put it in there except for the fact that you want to build this world.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want it just to be
Absolutely.
a two-dimensional world where you've got this robot. You know, these people are actual people. They've got relationships. They've got feelings. They've got, you know, and to include those little hints in there, it's so clever.
I think the other thing on that subtext, I guess, if we're talking about that, the only other thing I think about is like Robocop himself, I think, kind of looks like a fetish object in a way.
Oh, totally. Yeah, definitely.
You know, and that
he's almost
I
a
think
parody,
really,
of masculine. You know, he's got the pecs. Basically, look at him. He's got pecs.
Yes.
He's got a big square jaw.
Yeah.
He's got the big shoulders. And he's
got literally the iron butt. I mean,
yeah, he has, yeah. A butt you could bounce bullets off. Yeah, you know,
absolutely.
The thighs. He's got... No, but you're right. He's like the Oscar statue. You know, it's kind of proper. Yes. Yeah, you're right. It is a fetish object.
And then then you've got, you know, the rubber around the chin.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, the whole thing is.
But even the close-ups on the mouth are really. There's almost uncomfortable sexuality about that as well, because it's proper close-up and it's focusing right on his mouth. The camera's very longing, isn't it? Like there's longing there about the camera.
And the fact that he's got no visible eyes too. I mean, literally his mouth is all that there is of his face. Yeah. I mean, that's
all that identifies him as clear. Well, we don't know that there's anything else human. We know that that's there, but and if I remember rightly, later on, there's a good reason the helmet's there.
Yes, absolutely. But I love this too. Like, so he had a dream. The scientists ignored the fact that he was dreaming because they were eating McDonald's, right? That literally is what happened. And now they're blaming the police for what happened. So he's yelling at the desk sergeant. It's like, dude, he had literally nothing to do with it. He wasn't in the room. And they're like, Lewis is getting it as well, you know. And it's like, and it's that classic kind of corporate shit rolls downhill thing, you know.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Who can we blame this on? Who's the nearest, most convenient target?
Yeah.
I love her glasses. Why do we not have glasses like that anymore? Those are serious glasses.
Yeah, no, they're good. Again, there are many fans of the glasses on the show.
Yeah, it reminds me of like early series X-Files when everyone was horribly dressed, but it was so charming with the horrible clothes and hair and like Scully's shoulder pads and.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, your man there, I can't remember his name now. Shit-eating grim fella. What is his name?
Which
Twin Peaks dude. I can never remember anyone's name in this.
Which one are we talking about?
The guy from Twin Peaks, the guy.
Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah, him. Yeah, so he exemplifies X-Files fashion. Actually, the way that he's dressed is like so, which means that for the 1980s, he must have been quite fashionable. It must have been quite well dressed. I was Wayne Rooney again.
Meanwhile, in the slightly more eccentrically dressed competition.
I mean, but that's eccentricity that doesn't fuck around, is it? I mean, that's a guy who he's gone for the look. He's committed to the look.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's a guy who says, "Yeah, go ahead, laugh. I dare you." And it's
I've got a big fucking gun, and I will use it.
But I also, for me, I love in this. What makes me laugh about this is like these guys. He's so committed to the criminal lifestyle. He literally steals gas. Like we just rob a bank. We know he's got enough money to pay for it, but like he's incapable of. Like,
look, right, he's taken down the capitalist system.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's clearly a statement.
He's taking it down one cash register at a time.
He's doing exactly. It by hand. He's a one man mission. Yeah. I do feel sorry for this dude.
Oh, this dude, like, apparently this is, I can't remember who it was who told me this, but apparently this character is Verhoeven's insert in the movie.
Is that right? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that's meant to be him. Like,
again,
the poor
it
sod.
feels too specific, doesn't it, to not have a meaning?
Yeah.
Like, this poor guy just wants to do his geometry. Leave the guy alone, dude.
And that's, again, I've got, that's some pretty hard, that plain geometry. That's tough stuff he's doing there, man. That's
I mean, we've got to respect the guy. He's working his way through college. That's the guy who's going places if he doesn't get shot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, here we go.
I love that he recognised him just from, presumably just from the mouth. Like,
no, it's from the line "Dead or Alive, you're coming with me." That's the thing.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
That's
you're right. I was going to say it was like
it's the key moment that pivots. Yeah,
dude, get out there. Take your book. I'm glad it's not collateral damage. That's a visual, isn't it? Look, that's proper 80s action visual. Guy walking out of the flame.
It is a pre-digital, by the way.
Yeah, there's an authenticity to it. I know I keep saying it. I don't want to sound like one of those old, back in my day, the effects were better, but you can't fake that.
No.
It looks so much better.
I think that looks absolutely spectacular.
It's brilliant.
And the way it's still burning in the background as he stalks out, that is glorious. Absolutely glorious stuff.
I'm realising now that the way that he's walking, that must be a genuine. He looks uncomfortable. It's probably because he is uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
It suits the character, but he probably is walking like because it's fucking uncomfortable.
But the other thing that's amazing about his performances, you got the interesting thing about the suit is it was uncomfortable and it was hot. It actually wasn't heavy at all because it was plastic. No. So he gives it weight with the way he moves because it looks heavy as hell.
It does,
That's all on him. That's all on the physical. But it's a really, really impressive performance.
Yeah.
I'd have given him the Oscar that year. Personally.
Hell yeah. that again is very, very 80s. Just going under the radar.
Yeah. Never gets old. That's so good. And also, this is so bear in mind, this is 87. This is the invention of USB.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that was pretty cool.
That is very cool.
And I wish USB actually was a fist spike. How much more polite would office life be?
Yeah, but you still will be able to get it in the right way. You should have to try and insert it into the computer 5 or 6 times.
Well, that's why this is fiction, because he just went straight in and it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just too forward thinking. Boudica, that was his name. Yeah. I remember him now.
Clarence Boudica.
Clarence, that's not a criminal's name, is it? Oh, no, he's a nice guy.
Again, it's so good. Yeah, look at that rap sheet, yeah.
Wow, he's a bit of a motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a baddie.
Yeah. He just doesn't look it, though. Look at that photo. No, actually, no, now you look at him, he's got a creepy teacher vibe.
Yeah. But I also love that, again, the storytelling. Look how efficient this has been. We've gone through, we've gained so much information, and now the payoff. Robocop realizes, I'm dead.
Shit. I'm dead, and look at those cheekbones.
Oh, God, and I was so gorgeous.
That was so beautiful.
I was like a soulful Clint Eastwood. What's happened?
If they get that shot of him, did someone just say, just look wistfully into the distance while I take this mug shot of you?
Just look impossibly gorgeous, just for one shot. There we go. Right.
Perfect, you got it.
And slightly sad. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Just imagine that you've had a dog for 12 years and it's just passed away.
And you're remembering the good times, but it's
yeah. It was like it's a good memory. You're sad, but you're glad you had those years. Yeah. There's a kid show there somewhere. Robocop's dog. Oh, he's got a house robot.
Yeah. Well, it's an automated estate agent.
Where are our house robots? Future Light.
Because this is his old house that's now up for sale, so they put in the. But I love the idea, that they found a way to make estate agents even less human. It's really impressive. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember this, but he's got the memories sort of.
Yeah.
And it sounds really silly, but just the way it's something. There's emotion on his face, and there wasn't before.
Yeah. No, it's really impressive.
He's in there somewhere, isn't he?
But also, look how his body language has changed. Look how his movement has changed. It's more hesitant. He's never been hesitant.
Uncertainty, isn't there?
Yeah. No, this is great. I think this is really well. And again, the pace of the movie, but they let this sequence breathe. Yeah. They give it space. I think that again, it's just intelligent storytelling. You need this. You need this pathos, and you need this moment to breathe. So
yeah. And it could be so, what's the word? Like cloying.
Oh God, yeah. No, it could be horrifically sentimental, and yeah, absolutely.
But I think there's almost, I don't know how it's not, but it isn't. I think maybe it's just not too much. He's still got a coldness about him, hasn't he? It isn't like he just completely drops character entirely.
No, I think also the lengths of the flashbacks are short enough that they feel like ghosts of memories rather than fully. Like he's not fully remembering this stuff. They're like emotional impressions, really.
And the other thing is the music.
Yeah,
it's not sentimental music. It's very, it's dramatic, but in a almost a horrific sense. It's
yeah. Well, it's mournful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, it's funereal almost. It's really
and
kind
now
of.
he looks angry.
Now he's pissed.
Yeah, we've all wanted to do that. Let's be real.
To an estate agent.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Now this is like every gay bar I've ever been to.
This is the most 80s nightclub that ever.
It is, and I'm just saying that the 80s aesthetic was just like gay rave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Embrace it. It's great.
Absolutely, which it could have been worse.
And actually, some people are surprisingly stylish. Oh, is that Leland?
Yeah, look at him.
The nightclub. He looks out of place, doesn't he? Like that's a dude.
He does, yeah. Oh dear, no, that was never going to work. You can see how it's got him out of trouble in the past. Go on, sorry, what?
No, just a little bit of slapstick there,
Yeah, it's lovely. And the hair.
Everyone was just dancing like, yeah, we don't give a shit. This big robot has come in and just flopped this guy. It's fine. It's the 80s. That actually happens.
I think normally they expect him on a Thursday. I think that's the only thing. I'm surprised to see him there on a Tuesday night.
He's early this week, shit.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it is, isn't it? It's the like he doesn't actually look that out of place.
Well, he doesn't look out of place. No, I suppose that's the point, isn't it? But... cocaine, the 80s drug of choice.
Yeah, cocaine and models. Here we go. Yeah. It's
the dream. And look at that again. Shirt. Now that is not a good shirt. That's a bad shirt.
Yeah,
that's a waste of cocaine. He's never going to get all of that.
He's not, is he?
No.
I think he's going to try though.
He's going to. Well,
he's going to give it the.
I guarantee there's going to be some left behind. I'm just thinking on a monetary, practical level.
I agree. He's clearly not a thrifty human.
I'm the kind of person that if I'm eating cereal, I have to get every little bit of cereal out of the bowl. I need to get my money's worth out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a practical concern.
Oh yes. That's one of the iconic lines of the movie as well. Yeah. Bitches leave.
And the bitches leave.
And indeed they do leave.
And I say bitches in a very respectful way because I'm sure they're very nice people who are just trying to make a living.
Absolutely. I think it's tough in the big city. I think you do what you got to do. And
exactly.
This guy clearly. Whoa!
It's just he's shooting to wound. He's vicious. This guy.
Yeah. Now, when I was 11, this scene redefined Villainy for me. I got to tell you, I watched this and I was like, that is a level of evil and malevolence I didn't know could exist. And I was both terrified and awed by it. Just like the idea that you would make a video.
Yeah, and this guy's going to be so successful. You can have this villainous speech. Oh. Also, he had a DVD, which I'm really impressed by.
Yeah, again, 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Look at that.
I really like the interior decoration there. It's very upmarket hotel room.
Yeah, isn't it just? Yeah, it's
I like it.
It's the suite in the trendy hotel.
Yeah, it's again surprisingly tasteful.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Oh yes.
That's a Trump face.
Oh yes.
That is a real Trump face. That is oh man. What a waste of good interior design.
But it was wasted on Bob Morton anyway because he was a scumbag, so
But, and you do feel regret, don't you? Like he's just been blown to smithereens. Yeah. You think, man, I know he was a total arsehole, but he was a fun arsehole. But
also, like, those guys are clearly worse. Like, whatever he was.
He was a kind of like, he was like a safe level of evil. Like the level of evil you interact with all the time, like bank manager level of evil.
Yeah.
It's,
but the thing is,
not shoot a guy multiple times in the leg and then play a villainous speech on DVD and levels of evil.
Well, he wasn't. The thing is, he wasn't devious enough to be really evil. He wasn't smart enough to be really evil.
He was incompetent evil, wasn't he? Really, when you get down to it, he was overconfident.
Yeah. I love this sequence as well. By the way, these guys, this actor, he's only in this scene. The guy drinking the wines. I think he's meant to be like Italian mafia. That's the idea. And Clarence and these guys are trying to buy their way into the cocaine business with the money they've stolen. But I just love, it's the classic villains facing off against each other.
Yeah.
And just the way they, watch what Clarence does in this next bit of dialogue. This is Kurtwood Smith. What is that?
That's kind of like you just wouldn't want to mess with a guy like that, would you? This guy's clearly insane.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great.
I'm actually really impressed with how well he's doing this, because I remember him as the dad from that 70s show, and I'm bought into it now.
Yeah, no, that's it. And you're like, I don't want to ever meet this guy in real life.
Even though he looks like a geography teacher, like the most evil geography teacher you've ever had.
Yeah, no, he's great.
He's actually got a touch of the Jack Nicholson about him, hasn't he? The Joker style evil.
Yeah, and it's in and
wasted cocaine. Jesus, guys, that's expensive.
He's got the high widow's peak as well, and the kind of
he has. Yeah, he's got the
quality to his voice. Yeah, that's going on. And there's the silhouette shot. Yeah. The cloud of coke to provide the silhouette shot that you need. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, like some people use smoke, but no, it's the 80s. We're going to use fuck tons of cocaine. Right there, you think this guy's the worst fucking hero ever. He's never going to come out with snappy one-liners, but
yeah.
And you see, that's why Arnie wouldn't have worked, because that's Arnie's whole shtick.
Yeah, exactly.
Arnie's cool, and Robocop is cool, but he's not cool.
Yeah,
like, he's cool because of what he does, not because there's anything inherently cool about him.
Yeah. No, it just, I mean, we lucked out. I think Arnie was doing, God, I can't remember what Arnie was doing. Oh, Arnie was doing Predator instead. That's sort of we won twice because we got Predator.
Yeah,
and we
can you
got
imagine Predator without Arnie? It wouldn't have been any good, would it?
Wouldn't have been any good. He has
his best one-liners in it as well.
Yeah, and it suited him. I mean, it played to his strengths, that film. I think he's great in that movie.
I'm just watching this, and I can't imagine him moving the same. It just wouldn't have been the same film.
No. But, I mean, Arnie wouldn't have spent 2 months with a professional mime.
I can't get over that. That is amazing. I'm watching him now as you're saying that, and you can actually see.
Look at
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
That's really, really cool. That's a really cool detail.
Yeah. No, I've got so much respect for Weller as an actor. I think he does. And it's it's that thing of because it's an action movie, people don't notice what he's doing in it. And it's just how much work he's put in to make this. To sell this,
you're looking at obviously you look at all the explosions and the stunts and that, but it's the little details, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. This is a fun sequence.
Like now he's realised what he's.
Yeah, that's it. It's like he's starting to. Because at first he's like, you're a cop, you can't touch me. And now it's like, hang on, we're off script now.
Yeah. This is not what's meant to happen.
And it's a good meltdown.
Yeah.
Look at his face now. Like, he's totally changed from that cocky psychopath of 2 minutes ago. Now he's like.
It's actually amazing how much the glasses added to the whole vibe as well. I know that sounds really silly, but he doesn't have it's almost like his armor. He hasn't got the glasses. He's all disheveled now. He's not got that cold defiance.
And also the degeneration. I mean, he's bleeding from his face now. It looks really messed up.
Uphold the law.
Oh yes. I think when I did this, I watched this with my dad a few months ago, and he described that as being the law of Robocopics, which I really like.
Robocopics.
Like,
that's a really cool moment, though, because okay, so normally it's just kill the fucker, but maybe this is the hippie pacifist in me, but I really like the fact that there is a non-lethal alternative.
Yeah,
you don't get that in action films. Normally it's just shoot, kill, but
I mean, go on.
Oh no, that's probably something no one else would give a shit about, but I just thought it was really cool.
No, I mean,
not everything has to result in lethal violence.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I have to, in fairness I have to say it is inconsistently applied in the film.
A little bit.
He just shot an entire warehouse full of people, which probably didn't need to, because he's bulletproof. And
he's kind of left the most awful guy on the planet alive. So yeah.
But I do like the prime directive thing. I just like
the principle that is there, isn't it? If not quite fine tuned.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I love that globe on his desk.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that is pretty snazzy.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the Batman rule, though, isn't it? Like, Batman isn't supposed to kill anybody, but he sure does beat the shit out of a lot of people, and I'm sure some of them go on to snuff it. He's punch of gloves all around.
It's actually one of the many reasons why I refuse to acknowledge Batman versus Superman as a movie in the canon of Batman, because he does actually clearly kill people in it.
I refuse to acknowledge it just because it looked really, really bad. I've never seen it though.
Awful.
Is it as bad as it looks?
I think it's kind of impressively awful. I found something amazing about seeing that much money be spent on something that bad. So
there is merit to that, isn't there? It's very sad, very wasteful merit.
And I spent a lot of the film watching going, how did this happen? Because there are competent storytellers in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And how did this happen?
How can you get something so...
And it's not one thing going wrong. So many things had to go wrong to make a film that bad.
I'm kind of glad I didn't waste my time with it, but...
Oh, no, don't. Yeah. It's awful. It is bad. You will be angry at the 2.5 hours you spent watching it.
Sometimes there's merit in hate watching something, but you've got to pick your targets.
Well, I got a little podcast out of it, so I was all right. I feel like I was ahead of the game in the end.
You're going to have to hate watch The Lost Boys at some point, like do a live hate watch.
I don't know if I could bring myself to watch it.
How many times have you watched it? Just the once?
Lost Boys. No, I watched it loads as a teenager. I loved it as a teenager. Yeah. That was the whole point of it. Yeah. I watched it again and realised
it was shit.
Utter shit. Yeah, it is. It's just, and it's so bad that I was angry with myself for ever liking it, because it said something about me that I didn't like, that I was prepared to absorb something that clearly, obviously, transparently shitty. I think it was good.
That's the fear of indulging nostalgia, isn't it? It's like, that's why I try and watch the old films every now and again, just to reassure myself, no, it's still good. Like one of my favourites is The Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Love The Warriors. And about maybe 10 years elapsed from the last time I watched it. And I watched it again, and I was really worried, like, is this actually going to hold up to what I remember it? And I still loved it, that's the long and short of it. But I was... you think enough time has elapsed that I don't know if I can trust my memory that this is actually as good as I think it is.
I mean, I've got one of those, because my life in horror, obviously, I get that. I mean, so far, luckily, I think Lost Boys is the only time it's really happened where I've gone back and gone, oh my God, this is... I've had some where it's been uneven. I've gone back to old albums and gone like, okay, this is a bit hit and miss, but the good stuff's good or whatever.
There he is again.
There he is. Oh, yeah. Well, of course, because this is the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Robocop.
I just love the stop motion is so cool.
Look at the way they sell these two being together on this sequence. This is a masterclass in filmmaking. This sequence, I really think.
Because obviously, so far he's been totally indestructible, hasn't he? Like, there's been no fear that he could ever. And then suddenly this literal robot.
Oh.
You fear for whatever sort of human is left in him at this point, don't you? Because there's still, there's some squishy bits in there.
Oh yeah.
And
here we get the first sign of it as well.
Yeah.
Look.
Well, look, he's already starting to disintegrate, isn't he?
Oh.
He's all torn up.
I remember seeing that eye through the visor scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. It is scary, isn't it?
Because you don't know, like, what else is under there, Yeah.
It's ghosts in machine.
Yeah. No, it's great. And this is just, again, the effects.
This is Metal Gear. He is a Metal Gear. He's like a mini Metal Gear. It's very, very cool. Like, Metal Gear was like a giant bipedal tank, and this is like with the rockets and everything. He's a small version.
So it's like the mechs. It's that kind of vibe, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. ED-209 is like a mini. Well, he's like a mini boss, isn't he? It's like
he is. Yeah, this is the boss battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, this appeals to the video game room, like. Oh no, he can't get down the stairs. A failed design flaw.
That's a Verhoeven solution, right? That's look at that.
It's actually kind of cute the way his little toesies are like.
Oh, suddenly he looks all he looks all confused. Look,
kind of adorable. He's
he
a
is.
sweet murder machine. Oh, bless his little heart. Oh, someone go and help him. He's having a proper temper tantrum now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Again, that shouldn't be funny.
Oh, it's wonderful.
But it would feel out of place anywhere else. Like, we just had this huge action sequence, and then he's been felled by the deadly stairs.
The deadly stare. Well, that's it. It's that humour again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just undercuts the. Yeah. No, I love it.
But that is the kind of design flaw that you would overlook, isn't it? Like, you can imagine that the prototype of something they probably wouldn't consider. How the fuck is it going to get downstairs? It doesn't matter. It's a killer machine. It's not going to get downstairs.
Exactly, and I think it really speaks to the fiction, because that's the whole point, is that this corporate culture is actually really stupid.
Yeah. You know? The actual base practicalities of it don't occur.
Yeah.
Again, to go back to Metal Gear again, there's a really cool bit in Metal Gear with the guy who designs the mechs. You've got your big boss battle at the end, you've got to fight the Metal Gear, and he points out there's a design flaw here, and you're like, okay, you're the guy who made it, why the fuck is there a design flaw? And it turns out he put the design flaw in there on purpose because he wanted the mech to have character.
Nice.
And I love that touch, and that just made me think of that, like, because that design flaw, that moment gave it character. Before then, it was just this mindless killer machine. All of a sudden, it's like, oh shit, there's almost something alive about this.
Yeah.
His little uncertain, like a puppy trying to get down the stairs.
Yeah, and it's like
it's great.
And it's the way its shoulders come up, and it suddenly looks.
It actually looks like it's recoiling, like
No, it's wonderfully done.
Yeah, it's great.
And I love it. The score, I really like.
The score is great, isn't it? I never think I've paid much attention to that before, but it's brilliant.
No, it's a good 80s score. It's this one and the Hellraiser score. You know.
That's a film I need to watch again. I've not seen that in such a long time.
I think that holds up pretty well.
I imagine it probably would. Well. I think.
Yeah.
She's found him. There you go.
Yep.
I remember this being a cool moment.
Yeah, very, very cool moment. Love it.
Yeah.
And look how wrecked he is now, man.
Yeah.
And like you say, he's been indestructible the whole time, and now suddenly he's like barely functioning.
And I love that, she's picked him up. Again, it's like she's his equal. She can carry him, and she it's like what's it? Jason and the Argonauts, isn't it?
Yeah. And the fact that we've just gone from a stop frame action sequence to this. I mean,
this one's deliberately terrible. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just taking the piss. It's so great.
I love all these little adverts. There's really, it reminds me of, I don't know if you played Max Payne.
Yes.
But all the little random TV spots you'd get in Max Payne, even like Lords and Ladies, or I can't remember what the other show was. It's a little bit, totally irreverent, but it adds to the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, well, it's just a sense of a wider world, isn't it? It's
a sense of place. Yeah, again, like when we were talking about earlier on, when the way that people interact, little bits like this, it's a world building, isn't it? It doesn't take much like this sort of thing. There is a world outside of this.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, what I really enjoy the projection, the idea of like there's the Star Wars peace platforms are up there, but they've just malfunctioned and toasted half the coast. It's like, of course they wouldn't work. Well,
this is kind of a crapsack universe where nothing fucking works. They make all these bright ideas, but clearly they're too stupid to make them work properly.
Well, that's what happens when you. I mean, I really do think that's the commentary. That's what happens when you put the corporations in charge.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, we're not seeing that now. I'm not going to go too far into this because I'll get ranty, but the NHS.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all I'm going to say on that. But you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, no, I mean we're as soon as you start trying to introduce, I mean, it's just the idiocy of trying to introduce something as like market forces into healthcare. It's like you don't understand anything about market forces or healthcare if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a category error,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, glad we didn't get ranty anyway. You queued me up there, man.
I could. I won't. I could. That's another podcast, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Ranting with Laura Mauro. Yes.
We're missing Dick Jones there flirting with the. Sorry, not Dick Jones. Clarence Boddicker flirting with
really badly as well.
Really badly, yeah. She wasn't impressed. I don't know if you spotted.
I mean, would you? I mean, like. He's kind of lost some of his sheen, hasn't he? A little bit now.
A little bit, yeah.
He's got his glasses back.
He has. He's also got a very fetching scar across his entire forehead.
It's a little bit like Hair Star in Preacher, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's a little bit like that.
Slightly off centre, but
yeah. I love. Now, this is the scene I was talking about as well. Now, this is the only scene these two get on camera together.
Yeah.
But look at, again, imagine we're watching it without the sound.
Simmering, isn't it? There's some kind of history here, isn't there?
Isn't there? Yeah. I find it, I'm endlessly fascinated by these two. Look at that. Look at him walking backwards.
Yeah.
There. I love that.
The body language.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's history. I don't know what kind of history, but
and then look over the top of the glasses.
Yeah,
there.
Look at that. Yeah, no, I am seeing it. I'm seeing it.
I don't know what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing something.
But I'm seeing it.
yeah, it's there. I see it. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Now I know I'm going to be writing fan fiction about tomorrow.
Oh, these two! I want to know. I have so many questions. Where did they meet?
There's a spin-off in there somewhere. Yeah, because what is this? They've got a whole lifetime's worth of history just based on the body language and what they're saying there. But how? Where?
He's like vice president number 2 at Omni Consumer Products. That guy's a massively powerful street criminal. How did they ever come into each other's orbit? How did they build a relationship? Where is it? And it's it's all there and it's all implied in the performances, which is wonderful. But
but they're such interesting characters that I really wouldn't mind like a good half hour's digression into
absolutely
into their story.
No, this is we're back in the obviously we're back in the scrapyard where Murphy was executed, so we're back there for the so we've come full circle for the finale. I love that. You see again the movement of the knee there.
It's really uncomfortable. It's like being in the physiotherapist office when they're twisting your legs around. Oh, he's got a drill.
Yeah.
And some baby food.
Oh, yeah. Here's what we need the drill for.
Oh, you see, now I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember this being really uncomfortable.
Yep.
When I was young, but I don't remember why.
Oh, good. Well,
so I'm really nervous now.
Here we go.
Just remember something horrible happening here.
Oh, this is one of my, not to build it up too much. This is one of my favorite effect shots in cinema.
Oh yeah, it's just.
And I love the reveals
so
straight away. You've got the distorted mirror first before you get to see it properly.
Took his face.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Oh, it's
awesome.
Absolutely fantastic. And this is pre the Borg,
Yeah. The visuals there are brilliant, actually. The special effects are so good.
At that. And I still can't
see
the joins. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I know how they built it, and I still can't see how they built it when I look at it on camera. I'm mesmerized by it, and I'm fooled by it every time. It's such an amazing piece of work.
Brilliantly done. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's a lost art as well, isn't it? It's a prosthesis and.
Oh, I mean, you would digitize that every day because it was fantastically expensive. It took day, it took hours and hours and hours.
Could you get that texture?
No.
I don't know that you could.
No.
It really looks like they just took a guy's face and stretched it over a bit of metal. It's really, really, it's gross, but it's brilliant.
It is.
And it's funny. Earlier on, I was looking. You look at him, and you think this is a beautiful man, and you look at him there, and that same thing, the same qualities that make him a beautiful man, make him so uncanny.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is exactly that uncanniness of it.
Yeah.
But it's the right kind of uncanny. If it was digital, it would be the wrong kind.
Yeah. It would look false. It looks real, but it looks painful. That's the word I'm looking for. It looks painful.
Well,
they've sliced a guy's face off and they've stuck it on there just for the illusion of humanity.
Yeah.
Well, is it an illusion? I guess that's the key question, isn't it? Is it the illusion of humanity? It's really interesting, though, that in the design of this guy, they've endeavoured to keep that level of humanity on him by including a human or a portion of a human face.
And then you also make the decision to bolt a helmet over the top.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's
really interesting design choice, but
yeah,
because you would imagine that if you were having some sort of cyborg law enforcement, you'd want the eyes. That's the reassurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that is if you're creating them to protect and to serve, but clearly you're not creating them to protect and serve. You're creating them to kill and destroy.
Well, you're making them to be Judge Dredd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
so then you have the visor because that makes them more imposing and makes them more impersonal. This is this is really the sequence where you get to meet the gang, you know, in their native environment, if you like, and it's just, oh god. Look at Ray Wise again.
I know. He's very expressive. Imagine that was the joy of him in Twin Peaks was the expressiveness and the manic laughter and.
He's just blown up his car.
Oh, this is as big as Wayne Rooney, that gun. You're back for the comic book violence.
Absolutely, yeah. This is 11-year-old boys with fireworks, isn't it? This is
totally, Like, who gives a shit about the actual damage being done here? Things are blowing up. It's
cool. Yeah, exactly. And at least one of these explosions, I have it on good authority, was way bigger than it was supposed to be, and they had a bit of a problem with it. I think it's
I want to say it's that one, but like.
No, it's this one.
Is it not?
Check this out.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an eyebrow syndrome and explosion.
I think he did lose his eyebrows. I think Emil did lose his eyebrows in that shot. Yeah, it's really
if I remember rightly, he loses more than his eyebrows, doesn't he? In a bit. Something really, really gross and horrible happened to him. Or was that again? Am I thinking of another film?
Don't have long to find out.
Okay, I'm good. I'm actually pleased how much my memory is intact.
Yeah, you've done pretty good.
I'm surprised.
You've remembered the beats, haven't you? I think.
Yeah. Well, the moments that when you're sort of 14 would stand out.
Yeah. The other thing we haven't mentioned, I mean, I've talked a lot about Weller's movement and how he carries the weight of the suit. The other thing that does sell you on the weight of the suit is the sound design. I remember as a kid being mesmerized by all the server sounds as he moves and the stomp of the footsteps, all of that stuff. And that really is working on you on almost a subliminal level to sell you on the weight of this character. And
it's all perfectly synchronized, isn't it? Like, it's believable the way that it fits with the way that he's moving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just rude.
That's a really comforting thing to hear when you're sleeping like
right
6 feet away.
I was actually going to say how kind of it's almost like a weird guardian angel quality about it, but no, there's not. Now he's trying to shoot baby jars while she's trying to sleep, and that's just not on.
But also, I love how matter-of-factly she deals with it, right? She's just like, okay, right, here we go.
She's a really cool character because he's not devoid. I think they've got a really good balance for somebody who's not devoid of emotion, because she clearly does have emotion, but she's also super competent.
Yeah. And that's just it, isn't it? I mean, it's depressing to observe that to just have a female character who's hyper competent in an 80s movie is noteworthy. I mean, it's like that's exceptional, you know?
Yeah, and that now it's still something that.
Yeah.
I think we're only coming back to a place where that isn't noteworthy, if that makes sense.
No, I think it's
for such a long time. I think we regressed on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's been well, and I don't, not to harp on about it, but you do wonder how much of a horrendous influence having a monster like Weinstein having that much power in Hollywood. No, not just in terms of the gross stuff that was happening behind the camera, but the editing decisions that were happening. And
knowing that it wasn't just him. You see, the thing is, that there's a whole swamp under that surface.
Absolutely.
And then you do look at things with new eyes, don't you? You look at things with incredible discomfort. Like, I think reading what Uma Thurman said about during the shooting of Kill Bill, I don't know that I could watch that film again without feeling extremely uncomfortable about watching it.
Yeah.
You try and separate life and art, don't you? But sometimes,
I think that one's particularly tough because what I was impressed by with what Uma Thurman said was just how she's clearly still conflicted about it herself.
Yes. Well, she's still processing, I think, isn't she?
But also, I think she does value the art that they produce together.
Well, absolutely, and I think you can value. I mean, I think. See, here's the conflict that we're coming into the modern age, isn't it? We like to, we know that in our hearts we have to separate life and art, but how much can we separate it, and how much is it not possible to separate it, particularly if it's something that resonates with you personally? Yeah. Because Kill Bill is a great film. Objectively, it's a fantastic piece of cinema, but at the cost of it, you've got. I think people have struggled with this with Polanski. Is another. Really good example of that.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, now I remember this bit.
Is it coming back to you?
It's coming back to me. Yeah. There was some serious special effects going on.
When you read a barrier that says toxic waste, nothing good.
I love that it just says toxic waste. Like, there's no specifics, just toxic. Bad shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's generally that's
Rooney, bye, my friend.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, you may have repressed.
He just fucking melts.
Yeah, he does. Just fucking melts.
Again, look at the prosthesis.
It's incredible.
That must have taken forever because it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and that was like 7 seconds. He has another maybe 15 on camera in total.
Yeah.
And each effect shot, he's deteriorated further. So you'll see,
that must have taken forever to do. And again, CGI not the same. Maybe CGI will get to that stage, but
yeah. Guess it is.
Don't touch me, he's screaming. Yeah, we'd all be like that. Don't shoot the poor guy and put him out of his misery. Just fucking run.
Just run. But then again, Ray Wise's expressiveness is wonderful there. He just goes all the way up to 11. He
is all of us in that moment, though, isn't he? I mean, we would all do exactly. Oh, bless him. I mean, again, this is black comedy, isn't it? This is pure black comedy.
Absolutely.
This is just disintegrated man.
Yeah, the fact that the head rolls over the roof of the car is just
I think it's just the fact that he approaches it like, "Whoa, help me!" Like anything good is going to come of it.
Yeah, right. It's like, I don't know how to break this to you, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to know what kind of toxic waste that was. Like, this is clearly a substance that we need to be. Oh, it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Now, this is, for me, an exercise in tension. The elements at play here and the way it's cut together and filmed. Lewis is running for the gun.
You've got some moving parts in this, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. And you're never lost. You know exactly what's going on the whole way. That is brilliant filmmaking.
It devotes just the right amount of time to each separate situation, doesn't it?
Yeah. Each element. Oh, it's great. I just love this so much. And the score is kicking off. It's all coming to
now we're kind of like heroic action movie score.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pure triumph music.
Bit of a western tinge to it.
Yeah, it's like a standoff. It's proper High Noon, isn't it? Like
showdown, yeah. Absolutely. And then
I was going to say, don't get loose there, she's going to kick your ass. Oh, Leland.
Yeah.
And I love that she gets to contribute, She gets, it's not all on Robocop. She holds her own.
Absolutely.
She's been shot to shit and she's still got the presence of mind and the strength of character to
take
blow
the
shit out of Leland,
Oof.
A proper Dracula moment.
Yes.
Vanquish the monster.
Yeah.
Oh. So cheesy. Oh. Look at the squirting blood. That's so anime. Yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah. That is one of the great movie deaths, I think.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's appropriately personal, It's like, look at the blood on Murphy's chest, on Robocop's chest. Just, he's drenched.
Oh, yeah. He's... and all of his face as well. He's a mess.
And I love the return of the fist spike at that crucial moment. That's so
particularly given the implication of the fist spike earlier on as well. It's like a double fuck you moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there's a significant absence in that scene. Oh, look at the state of that car. That's like being Dagenham on a Saturday night. Oh, he's back.
Oh yes, here we go. Round 2.
He clearly made it down the stairs.
I think it's a different one. I think they've got more than one.
Oh, it's more than one.
Theory.
Oh, okay.
That's my theory. I don't think it's canon. It's my theory.
Yeah. Well, the other one was missing an arm, wasn't he? So
yeah.
Well, and he's missing more than an arm. He's. I
love that. Again, it's the gag of just like not today,
It's that bit in Snatch, isn't it, where he shoots Boris and Boris just keeps getting back up, and he kind of looks like, "Don't take this, Boris."
Yeah.
Look at the little foot. There's something really like canine about him, isn't there?
Yeah. No, the twitching paw is what makes that art.
It's a twitching paw, isn't it?
Yeah. I just think that's because again, it's just it's a throwaway gag, but it injects so much character into that robot.
And all it is just one little movement. It's genius, really.
No, it's.
I just realised he's got a rubber cod piece. That's a really uncomfortable thing to realise.
this late in the day, I know it's.
I don't go around looking at people's crotches as a matter of course, so it's. I'm not like Lewis. I'm far more competent.
There you go. Yeah, there's the level of professionalism we were looking for the whole time.
I don't go around glancing at crotches. That's why I'm still alive.
No, fair enough. I like the blood on the fist spike as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got you. Oh,
video don't lie.
Video don't lie. Very good.
I really thought he was going to jump out the window at that point. I'm really disappointed he didn't.
I love the fact he's grabbed the display gun though from earlier, the one that Kenny was executed for holding. It's all right. Nothing's wasted.
It's literal Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Chekhov's magnum.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and the little loophole there. I never noticed that before either. That's really clever. Yeah. He's going to go. Look at his anticipation. She's like, yes, he's going to go through the window. Oh, that's ropey. Ropey special effects.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, I still think. He's a well hat.
Yeah.
That little thumbs
I still think it's better than the slow-mo Hans Gruber death, but it's not great.
Oh no, Hans Gruber! No, I won't hear anything bad said about Hans Gruber's death. That's just it's iconic.
Yeah,
I do love a good long no.
Yeah, you see, I just
from a great height, and that's such an abrupt ending,
isn't it? Yeah, it's done.
So abrupt.
Well, it's done. I mean, he's done what he's done what he set out to do. He's got his revenge. He's killed the bad guys. Roll credits.
I don't remember it ending that quickly.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. He doesn't need to do anything more than that, does it? He's done what he set out to do. Every bad guy is dead. He's got rid of the arsehole in charge. There's probably another arsehole waiting to take charge after him. So, a long line of arseholes. So how much he's actually solved is...
Well, that's the other thing I like about it. I think that the ending is very cynical because he's killed the people who were personally responsible for his death, but actually the power structure is completely unchanged.
Yeah, he hasn't solved anything, has he? He hasn't smashed the system. Smash the system, Robocop. We didn't want this Robocop.
This is why they needed a Robocop 2. This is what Robocop 2 had to have done, where he had to go after the corporations. I
wonder if you could have had a series, maybe. I don't know. I think it would have lent itself, just because I think there's a lot you could do outside of the film format. Or not that I would be opposed to seeing more of it, but
I think you could do it now.
So many of the major players have gone as well now, haven't they? I mean, I reckon you could still get some people just as good, but how are you going to follow like Kurtwood Smith and Miguel Ferrer? And I think it would be. I think it would be tough, but I think if you were going to do it now, you do it as a Netflix or HBO. Throw some serious money. I think it's the kind of thing that would be made for that format, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you could really go on.
No, I was just saying, I think you'd have to commit to the old or try to honour the old graphical style as much as you can. I don't know. I'm not. I just make it sound like I'm against CGI. I'm not. CGI can be really great sometimes, but I don't know. I'm just looking at this and thinking, for the most part, I don't think CGI could improve on it.
No, I agree. And it's kind of, for me, Robocop, it's interesting. I didn't know this obviously as a kid when I was watching it, but it's kind of the last hurrah for stop motion, really.
Yeah.
There won't be too many more movies of this level of budget where they'll use stop motion at all.
You're probably right, actually. I'm struggling to think of any that are later than this. All the ones I can think of were way, way before.
Yeah, and it looks just wonderful. It's just
it's so
great. Yeah. Well, and this has been Watching Robocop with Kit. I
can't believe that's gone there quickly. Sorry.
It's great. Laura, thank you so much for.
Thank you. It was brilliant. I really
enjoyed that. And as the credits roll, if you want to let the people listening know where they can find you if they're interested in engaging with your work.
Right, where they can find me. So I've got a website, is handily lauramauro.com. So that's blog, website, and so forth. It's probably the easiest place. I'm on Twitter at Laura N Mauro. Oh, was the one word? It's Twitter. Div. And yeah, I tend to pop up at various cons. I'm hopefully going to be at FancyCon later in the year as well. So yeah, you can come and say hi again.
And my personal recommendation for those of you, if you're looking for someone to start with Laura's work, is her novella Naming the Bones. One of my favourite books that I read last year. Superb piece of work. Go check that out.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you.
No, I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
and then go and read the interview I did with Laura on Ginger Nuts of Horror, because
yes, do
find out more about the book. Yeah,
Kit asked some good questions. Very interesting questions.
All right. Well, Laura, thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the film with me.
No, great. Thank you for asking me. Really, really, really good fun. Really enjoyed that.
Cool. All right. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Brilliant. Bye, Kit.
All right. And stopping recording.
So that's it. That's our show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you again so much to Laura for agreeing to be a part of the show. And again, I implore you, go and check out her work. She's had a short fiction published all over the place. Black Static, Interzone, and as I said, that novella, Naming the Bones, that we talked about. Again, I'll plug that once more because it's absolutely superb. And obviously go and pick up New Fears too when it comes out, because she's in it, so am I, so that'll be great. Again, a reminder that this episode was brought to you entirely by the generosity of my Patreon backers. Thank you, every single last one of you, for your continuing monthly contributions to the upkeep and costs of running this show. It is massively appreciated. I am incredibly grateful, and I never ever take you for granted. Thank you. If you are interested in pledging as little as $1 a month for early access to this show, my writing, and so much more, just head on over patreon.com/kitpower and see all the details there. In the meantime, if you like the show, rate it on iTunes, tell your friends, spread the word, share the link. Word of mouth's all I got, guys. No marketing budget. So if you've enjoyed yourself today, just tell people. That's the best thing you can do to help me out. Let people know that you listen to the show, enjoy it, share with them a link. That would be great. We'll be back soon. The next episode you'll be getting from me will not be Watching Robocop. It will be the first episode of Kit and It, a new bi-monthly show where I interview various authors and creative types and talk about Stephen King's It, the book and the miniseries, and the recent movie. And George Lee will be the lead-off guest. Very excited to bring you that show, guys. It's a lot of fun, and that will be running bi-monthly until such time as Patreon funding gets enough so that we can do Robocop monthly again. So there's another incentive for you. Okay, so take care of yourselves. Thanks again for listening, and until next time,
go Robo!